Welcome back to another episode of Hard Locks, college football version, here on the Dead Sports Media YouTube channel. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Burrows, my co-host, Chickster, aka Alex Chick, aka Chickster, I guess. I don't fucking know where I was going with that. I'm not necessarily feeling it tonight, but we're gonna power through anyway. Chickster, how are we doing tonight?
I got a water bottle.
And he can do the slurp with
it. Well, this is no free ads, but this is a water bottle, and there's this is a straw part. Some of y'all know this brand because y'all are woke, but
woke is crazy.
It's very nice. I like it, and then this is extreme thirst. You go and drink it normally. Awesome, love it. I've had it for 3 hours, and I'm like, I've already drank 40 ounces of water.
God bless. Hey, you're being healthy out here, though. That's good.
Nah, that's a lie. But I just poured water in it, and it's already halfway empty though, because of, you know what I'm saying?
It's because you're giving slurp.
All right. Yeah. All right. Stay hydrated, fellas.
That is key. Please stay hydrated. Going over last week's records. Not a good week for the boys.
Not good.
We differentiated on one game, if you guys remember correctly, which in theory should mean that the records were good. However,
nope, it was
Alex did win the week last week. He went 5-5, and I went 4-6.
500.
That we had some bad beats last week for sure.
Oh,
we had some bad beats.
How many of those were like 1 point? Oh no, that was the NFL one. But even then, that was ridiculous. But
wait, I thought I took Boise State last week.
I have you as Oregon. You were back and forth on it. No,
I'm pretty sure I took Boise State.
You did take Boise State. We're both 5-5.
Okay, so we're both 5. Because I was gonna say because I was talking about
you were on the fence and then yeah. Because I remember I disagreed with you and I was like I don't think that was a horrible decision, but you know. Whatever.
I had a feeling that Ashton Jeanty was going to run. He had the potential to run wild. I didn't know he was going to pop off in the way that he did. He's looking like a potential RB1. This is crazy.
I know. I was going to say this for Leave My Saturdays Alone. But like, is he like top 5, top 3 running back in the class?
I mean, right now, I feel like you're hard pressed to find 3 running backs in the country better than him.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe that. I don't know if you can find 3. He's making a really strong case to be a top 3 or the top running back in the class. So that's entirely fair.
As of 9/11, 2024. That's key here. Like sometimes after only 2 games, we say these things, but then things change. But yes,
of course, it's a very fluid season. But as of right now, I think you're hard pressed to find 3 better than him. All right, we're to jump into the slate of games for this week. Mm-hmm. Starting off, LSU ranked 16th in the country, getting 7.5-point favorites, traveling to South Carolina. Supposed to be some inclement weather down there in South Carolina.
What do you mean by inclement?
Apparently they were forecasted for a ton of rain.
Okay, yeah, I was like, you said a big ass word that I just did not like. You know,
inclement.
No, that's too much. That's too many letters. Once you get past like 4, you lost me. So like, you know, just keep it simple.
I mean, simple is more than 4 letters though.
5 is pushing it. All right.
That's 6.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. Who did LSU lose to last week?
LSU lost their season opener to USC. Fight on.
Well, shit. Okay.
I've got my pick. If you want me to go first.
Yeah, go first.
I am gonna take South Carolina in this one, and you're still keeping record, by the way. So please keep track of the picks this week. I'm taking South Carolina plus 7.5. I still don't necessarily know that I believe in Lenora Sellers, but when he was in for
ECU
South Carolina
legend
against Kentucky, ECU legend. Shout out to Trey's ECU stream and the whole hub in general. Please go check that out on deadsportsmedia.com, of course. The Sellers, he flashed against Kentucky, and
he could play.
Kentucky, you know, not. I don't want to say all the credit goes to South Carolina because they did play a good game. Kentucky looked like they never stood a chance in that game. Kentucky, Brock Vandegrift especially looked like a ghost. He did not look very good.
Ass.
If it's going to be raining, Going to be bad weather. Not going to say inclement. Don't want to confuse any of the viewers.
Me.
I'm gonna trust the run game in South Carolina, and I'm gonna take them plus 7.5.
I will go LSU. I'll go LSU. Why? Yep. I don't know. Like sometimes I just look at it and I just like that's the pick. I don't know why. Sometimes it's just a pick. So I'll go LSU. I'm not necessarily sold on Nussmeier. Weird ass last name. But I'm like, someone with a last name as Nussmeier, you're not sure if you could trust that guy yet. So he's got to earn my trust a little bit. But I'm a go. I think LSU's a more complete team. Even though there is inclement weather. There's I don't know. I'm gonna trust LSU. I will say Brian Kelly might be not as good as some might think, but we'll see. We'll see.
That's a conversation that's been had here at Vendetta for a couple of years now about how Brian Kelly should be ranked. So I'll be interested to see how that conversation goes at the end of the year, pending LSU's finish to the season. This should be a really fun one in at Camp Randall, Wisconsin, plus 15.5, playing host to Alabama. Alabama struggled for most of the game against South Florida, which is really interesting because they also struggled last year against South Florida as well.
Can we write this down and be like, every time they play South Florida, take South Florida
take
point.
South Florida, no matter how
like I bet the house on it. Like bet your life savings on it. You might hit. So
go ahead. Listen, Camp Randall is one of the hardest places to play in the country.
Correct.
Alabama, again, struggling with a team at the caliber of South Florida, not to, discredit the program by any means, but like that's a game that you should have won pretty mightily and not have to worry about it at all. It's a 2-possession home underdog in one of the toughest places to play. I'm going to take that 9 times out of 10. I'm going to take Wisconsin in this one as well. Because that's to me, that's way too many points as a home dog.
I'm going to go Bama, and this is why. Right after that South Florida game, because I know people I work with that are Bama fans, or they say they are, whatever. Like everyone's a Bama fan. And after that game, I was talking shit naturally, as I do. And after that game, I stopped talking shit because they started fucking thrashing kids. That's when they started turning it up. So yes, it's actually that's a very expensive game to me because I do agree with you. You're playing Wisconsin, who's usually pretty formidable.
Pretty tough team to play.
Tough team to play. 2-possession underdog, 8-point, like 2 8-point or 2 8-point. You know what I'm trying to say. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like you had 2-possession game, but with 8 points each. At home, like that's a tough task. I'm just gonna go roll with Bama. I don't think Wisconsin is as good as they usually are. They are 2-0, but they haven't really played anyone that I'm like, okay, well, Alabama did struggle against UCF, but I think they can. I might be wrong here. I'm kind of like talking myself out of this, but I kind of already went in my head that I'm going with Bama. I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm not a wavering Wanda, so I'm just gonna do it. Send it in. What does old Chad say? He says head down, eyes closed, can't miss, or some shit like that.
Eyes closed, head down, can't lose.
Yeah, that's what it is. And so maybe I'm going with the Chad one on this one. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay.
Boston College ranked for the first time this season, 24th team in the country, plus 16.5, traveling to play Missouri.
2-0 Boston College, by the way.
2-0 Boston College. They haven't looked terrible this season. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like
not sure they're 24 ranked, but that
I think both things can be true. Alex, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm not a big Missouri guy. Granted, I don't watch as much college football as I should. I'm trying to get better at that. Been at least these first 2 weeks, I've watched more college football than I kind of do in years past. So I'm trying to be better at watching college football. And it does help having blank TV It starts with the Y. Even though we're on the whatever. Anyway, but
we're live streaming on their platform currently, but
if no free ads, they're not paying me. So watching the quad box, it's kind of nice. Having multiple games at the same time, so it makes it easier to watch. Who has Boston College played? Do you know that off the top of your head? He's looking it up. Burden, the wide receiver at Missouri, is very good. I'm not well versed on this Missouri team, but having Missouri as the number 6 team in the nation, I'm not sure if that's true. So, and then having them as 17-point favorites over Boston College, who's beaten. Oh, we haven't got there yet.
I was trying to remember before I got to the results. I was trying to remember the second team they beat because they went into Florida State and won by double digits.
Florida State.
They beat
right.
Florida State in their season opener, and they beat DuQuince 56-0. So they pitched a shutout. So their defense is averaging, what's that, 6.5 points a game?
I think if this was a regular 13.5 favorite, I think I would go Missouri here. But not only is this it's not a 2-possession game, it's a 3-possession game with 17 points. Missouri's got to beat Boston College by 17 points. I'm not sure they could do that. I think Boston College is feeling themselves a little bit. 17 points. This is a team I don't really believe in at this point in time. So I'm not going to go Missouri here. I think this is a big spread for them. I'm going to go Boston College.
I'm also going to go Boston College.
Of course you are.
Listen, Missouri's got pieces, right?
I feel like they have
touched on Luther Burden, right?
Yeah.
He's many people the wide receiver one in the 2025 NFL draft. They are well coached. They haven't lost a ton over the last couple of years. They're really hard out in the SEC, which, by the way, they shouldn't be an SEC team, but that's neither here nor there.
What would you put them as before?
They should be Big 12. Yeah, I'd probably put them in the Big 12.
I feel like we need to have it by region. The Southeastern Conference should have teams from the Southeast.
Not fucking Oklahoma and Missouri.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would rename all the conferences and put it by region.
I was gonna mention Texas, but I don't want to get into the debate if Texas is a Southern state or not. I just don't have the energy for it. Thomas Castellanos for Boston College. Granted, I believe he threw 16 attempts in the game against Florida State, and I think he may have had like a dozen against DuQuince. He hasn't looked bad. He makes really smart decisions with the football. Doesn't make a lot of bad throws.
This is my thing. If your team is playing very well, you don't have to throw that much. And
right.
That's why I'm not necessarily sold on JJ McCarthy, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
we've got the in-state rivalry. Oregon minus 13.5, traveling to play their in-state rival Oregon State, who's plus 13.5. Should we maybe is it too early to press the panic button if you are an Oregon fan before we get to the
I'm not pressing it. Okay. You know what you're doing? So you know how like in movies and there's like, the nuclear codes or whatever. And like you got to like flip like the cover on it. Like we're not pressing the button, but the cover's open. Like you're kind of like
codes are pushed in.
Yeah,
the codes are in.
You're like exploring this as a thing because you're like it's not panic. It's not time to go to. But you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like what are you doing? So, Idaho. I was like, yeah, it's week 1. They played actually really well. There's a lot of penalties. But then they played Boise State, which, to be fair, when we did the college football playoff, the 12 teams that we were supposed to put in,
right?
I had Boise State as what's it called, the G5.
Yes, your group of 5.
I had them as the group of 5 winner, making the college football playoffs. I had Boise State, so I was a little bit higher on Boise State. I did not think that it was going to be that close. I did pick, like we talked earlier, I did pick Oregon to win. Wasn't necessarily sold on Boise State, barely beating Georgia Southern, and then being able to cover the points against Oregon. So that's so there's some doubt, for lack of a better term. There's some doubt against this team. How much doubt? I don't know. Garrett, what do you think? What do you got on this one?
I'm the same way when it comes to pressing the panic button. I think that the nuclear football's in. You've punched in the codes, and the president's hand is above the key. So you got to turn the key first, then you press.
Yeah,
the
have
button.
two keys.
You got to have the two keys. The keys are above the hole. Like we are right there to be pressing the panic button. And I think after this week, the panic button will be pressed because I believe that Oregon State might win this game. I think they might. I think they might win this game.
You might sprinkle money line.
I would consider it. I think Oregon State first half money line is a really interesting bet. I don't know what the odds are on that, but listen, is it Jam G? What's his last name? Hold on, Jam. Oh fuck! What the running back? Jam Griffin. Jam Griffin. He needs to.
That was a self-oop to yourself. You threw it off the back.
He needs more respect at the running back position. He's averaging over 6 yards a carry. I believe he has 3 or 4 touchdowns on the year already. And we saw what this Oregon defense looked like against Ashton Genty. And if they're going to play that poorly against the run, Jam Griffin might have himself a day. He could run wild on this defense potentially.
My only thing is 14 is not a lot of points for Oregon. And Oregon State's beat San Diego State and Idaho State. And granted, Oregon, as you know, they beat Boise State and they beat Idaho. So like that, I mean, Boise State's a little bit more formidable, but yep.
Formidable.
Toast. Yep. Yeah, you heard it.
It's crazy.
Toast. I just say that when I'm having a stroke. I'm gonna go with Oregon again. I think yes, there's some doubt. Maybe we just don't think Oregon is as good as we thought they were. However, I do think that Oregon is still good. I still think this is a college football playoff team. I'm not sold on Oregon State yet. So I'm going to go Oregon. Gary, it sounds like you're going to Oregon State, like you said, correct?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Oregon State.
So differing on 3 picks out of 4 already. So we're gonna have either we're gonna get a little bit closer or we're gonna get a little bit farther. But either way, and we're not even done yet. There might be some more here for us.
That is true.
Fuck Ball State. These bitches. Last year, first game of the year.
Let's hear it.
42.5 point spread. I'm like,
it's Georgia.
They can cover it. It was either Georgia or Alabama. I can't remember.
You're right.
They can cover it. They can cover it. I'm like, they got it.
Mollywopped.
Fuck these guys. No. Fuck Ball State. I'm going Cam Ward, future quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, to get 37 points. I don't care. This is more of me going against Ball State than it is me picking Miami. Because these bitches, and because you know what would happen, Garrett? I would pick these bitches again. I could do it. And then they would fucking lose by 30. What is it? 37. They would 38
They'd
points.
Lose by 36 to cover. They'd lose by 36 to cover.
Yeah, but if I picked them, then they won't cover. Like they would lose by like.
I understand what you're saying. But
now,
it'd be like a bad beat kind of situation.
Now these bitches are gonna lose by 36 points. I just fucking know it. I just know it is.
I have a really bad feeling about this game. Not saying that Ball State's going to go into Miami and win, right?
These fucking fat
Doesn't
bitches,
this feel like the kind of game that Mario Cristobal is going to fuck up? Like he's going to fuck up at least 1 or 2 games this year. And I have a sickening feeling in my stomach that this game's going to be like
a trap game.
It's going to be like 24-17 entering the 4th quarter. Miami's winning. Kind of similar situation to what we saw with Alabama last week with USF. Like Cristobal is going to do some stupid shit this year. He's a meathead. He can't get out of his own way. Like, this is the most talented team that he's probably ever coached, right? It's the best team that he's had since he's been at Miami, for sure. For sure. But he's got rocks for brains. And somewhere along the way this year, on their path to what looks like an eventual hopefully for them, an ACC championship berth or a championship win, that they're gonna fuck it up somehow.
Fuck Ball State. I couldn't do it.
I'm gonna take Miami because they should mollywop this team. Like, it shouldn't be close.
Right.
But this feels like the type of trap game for bettors specifically, where you might be able to make some money in this one.
I wouldn't bet on this game.
No, I wouldn't either. But
my you make a good point about Cristobal, but for me it was just I saw Ball State and I was just said fuck these guys. You can't cover fucking 43. Like, you couldn't. Like, that's all I needed, and you couldn't do it. Pissed me off. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Tulane last week was plus 9.5 as home dogs, and they almost won outright against Kansas State. So the Hard Locks boys did call that one pretty correctly last week.
Yep.
They've got a pretty favorable spread this week as well, traveling to Oklahoma to play the Sooners. Now, Jackson Arnold has looked really solid so far in his starts for Oklahoma.
Are we sure that Oklahoma's good? Are we sure Oklahoma's good?
I will never take Oklahoma seriously. I just won't.
You can't.
Oklahoma, Clemson, Notre Dame are the three teams in the country that I will never take seriously. I'll never take them seriously.
Oh, look at these fucking bitches. Notre Dame bitches next. Oh, God.
And for that reason, I'm going to take Tulane. Tulane's a really tough team. They've returned a lot of starters from last year.
You got to take
well
the Green
coached.
Wave. Yeah.
And we saw last week that they almost won outright against Kansas State, the ranked team. Game, you could make an argument that they should have won that game. So I'm definitely taking Tulane in this one.
I'm taking Tulane as well. I thought I was going to be a fucking genius. I thought Tulane was going to win the game, and they lost. I was like, well, they covered. So,
I wouldn't have hated that bet if people out there took Tulane money line. For fucking 55 minutes of that game, that looked like a pretty solid bet for just about. So this one's interesting to me. Shout out to Haas304 for being the only one here. Shout out to you, my friend.
Love you.
This one's interesting, man, because it's got to be talked about, the debacle that we got last week in South Bend. It's arguably that's one of the most embarrassing losses that you're ever going to see. It is. It's brutal. I think Northern Illinois closed at plus 2,100 money line and cashed. Absolutely cashed. Cheers, Haas. We appreciate you. When does the discussion shift to Marcus Freeman being on the scorching hot seat? Because for me, a loss like that firmly puts him on the burner for being on the hot seat, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love Notre Dame. I'm one of the more realistic because I don't follow college football as much, but if Notre Dame's on, I'm rooting for those guys, right? I will say I've not been confident in this team at all. As soon as they got Riley Leonard, I'm like, oh, okay, so we're not taking this shit serious at all. Then they, beating Texas A&M in a very ugly game, you're kind of like, okay, maybe they were both ranked, whatever. That shit was almost that shit wasn't inexcusable. Northern Illinois was hungry; they wanted it. Notre Dame came in there flat, thought they could just roll over this team. They could not actually. So it's almost a fireable offense to lose. I'm from Texas. Garrett's from Colorado. It's almost a fireable offense to lose to Northern Illinois. I'm going to take Notre Dame. Why? So I'm just going to take them. I don't have a reason.
No reason whatsoever. So the reason I'm taking Notre Dame. All right, Garrett, your pick.
Garrett, go ahead. Just I'm gonna I'm not sure Purdue's really good. They only beat Indiana State. So you're kind of like, okay, well, is Indiana State's a better fucking basketball? I mean, both Indiana State and Purdue are both better basketball schools, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with Notre Dame and hope that they're just angry enough and kind of disgusted with themselves at how they played against Florida, and they just come out and kill Purdue, at home. Purdue's at home, but
that's kind of my thought here.
yeah,
Haas in the chat's got Purdue in this one, which I don't necessarily hate.
I
I'll be
don't either.
honest.
But I don't have a good reason for picking Notre Dame. I'm just doing it, and I'm just kind of trying to get away with it.
For me, what might be the most expensive game of the week is this one. I'm gonna take Notre Dame as well, only because you have to assume that Marcus Freeman has laid into his guys this week.
You got to have respect for yourself. You have to.
They can't have another performance like that this week. And I know they're traveling on the road. Say what you will about, Purdue and their football program, but it's still a road game. Road games are not easy no matter where you play. But if they can pound the rock with Jeremiah Love, who's looked really solid to start the year so far.
He's looked good, and the secondaries look good, and nothing else about Notre Dame.
You hit the nail on the head that this team should not have been taken serious as soon as they brought in Riley Leonard to play quarterback. That you hit the nail right on the head with that. I think they're going to win this game with their run game and the defense. It's not going to be because Riley Leonard did anything special whatsoever.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about this pick just based off of what we saw last week, but I'm going to take Notre Dame as well.
God.
We've got our second in-state rivalry game,
which we figured out what oops are last week.
We did figure that out.
We learned on this. We're education. We're all about. Yeah, he is. He is a little bit of a soft. But I got
Hosh. You're 100% right. Marcus Freeman is not. He feels more like the motivator who can't motivate the team. If that makes sense. Like he can't. He wants to be the motivational rah guy, but he just doesn't have it in him. He just doesn't have it in him whatsoever.
It's a gift. It's like you either have it or you don't. Like, because then he comes off like one of those guys that used to play and be like, "Coach is right, guys. It's on us," and it's just like
everyone yelling, everyone else is yelling, "Shut the fuck up at him."
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like that's what he seems like, but he's the coach now, and so he's like, "Hey, I'm right, guys. Okay." Listen, please. Like
we've got Utah coming off the heels of a really, really ugly game last week against Baylor, minus 21.5 playing the Aggies. I don't necessarily feel good about this one either. Utah looked bad last week, and shocker here, another start for Cam Rising and where he gets hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no clue. I kind of want to agree with Haas here and go Utah, but this team has shown me nothing so far this year. Like the offense is not very good.
They've won games as they should. They haven't done well to cover.
On the same token, though, it's hard to bet against Kyle Whittingham. It's hard. It's hard. Wrong, Cam. You're all good.
No, Cam Ward, Miami.
You're talking about Cam Rising. You're talking about Cam Ward from Miami.
Yeah. But
it's hard to bet against that coaching staff in Utah, though. So, like, that's the only reason I'm taking Utah here is because there's that significant coaching difference.
Let me see here.
I believe it's RIS, like just like rising up. Haas, RISING, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't necessarily feel good about this one too. Part of me wants to take Utah State because that's a lot of points.
But
I'm taking Utah State. I'm switching my pick. I'm being a wavering Wanda. Give me Utah State.
I think 21.5 is that hook.
It's way too big.
It makes it. But this is the same Utah State that got killed by USC, which USC plays.
You're good, Haas.
They played well. Well, how much did Utah beat Baylor by? It was ugly, right?
I believe they won by 8.
Ballpark
9.
Oh.
No, it was low.
Oh,
it was less than 14. It was less than 14. Baylor covered last week.
You're taking Utah State.
I'm gonna take that. That's so many points. And Utah has not shown me anything. Cam Rising is gonna go into the game less than 100%.
You're taking Utah State. I am.
You want to.
I do.
Then just do it, man.
I'll fuck it.
Come to my peer pressure.
You know what? Let's make this a Utah problem and not us problem for this is Utah's fault. You're like if you asked me to make this pick week 1, week 2, or even last week before they played Baylor, I would have been like, yeah, Utah. But now this is what they made me do. They made me choose Utah State. They're making me down. So, Garrett, this is how we play both sides. We're picking Utah State, but if Utah just comes out and fucking fucks, like they skull fuck Utah State, it's because we doubted them.
Mm-hmm. It's true, 100%.
And we're doing this for them. We're picking against them to get
motivate
these guys.
them. Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
And then
why didn't we do that with Notre Dame though?
And then, and then if Utah State covers, then we were right all along. See, that's how you play both sides.
Hey, listen, you're smart. You're a smart fuck. You know that.
I was due, and now I'm not good for
true.
like 2 weeks. So don't expect shit from me. Okay?
That's crazy. Ole Miss, number 5 team in the country, minus 23.5, going to play the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take Ole Miss in this one.
We've both been kind of high on Ole Miss. I'm high on Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart might be my QB5. Yeah, no, I don't think it's I don't think this one's close. I don't think we have to talk about this too much. Who are they playing? I didn't even care about who they played.
They were playing Wake Forest.
Wake Forest, I like their colors. If that's
that is true. And shout out Tim Duncan.
Yeah, Tim Duncan, Chris Paul. You know, he's a Hall of Famer.
You know, I don't fuck with Chris Paul though.
I don't fuck with Chris Paul either. But that's Wake
Forest. You have to now as a Spurs fan.
So. You know I didn't agree with that shit. You know I don't.
I know.
Okay, yeah, you little baiter. Okay,
a really quick side tangent. Really quick side tangent. I promise, because we only
have 20 seconds.
Tim Duncan deserves more respect and more consideration in the greatest of all time conversation.
Well, I mean, over who? To me, the top.
No, all I'm saying is that he deserves more recognition to be in that upper echelon in that conversation.
He's top 10. I don't think.
I really think you can make an argument that he is among the 7 to 5 best players in NBA history.
That's fine.
I genuinely believe that.
I can't. Some days when I'm feeling frisky, I can put him 5 at 5. Other days I can't. Like sometimes I'm like I don't. I go back and forth on it. My top 3 will always be. Jordan, LeBron, Kareem. That will be my top 3.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, but that's
last question. Just yes or no. Just yes or no.
Okay.
Is Nikola Jokic a top 15 player all time? Just yes or no. You don't need to give me a reason. Just yes or no.
It's like I want to say no, but at the same time, I was like, well, can I name 15 guys better than and so I'm not sure if that's true either.
That's fair. All right. I was just curious.
I think I would put him in. I think 15's too high at this moment in time. I think top 20 is safer, and I think I would say yes to that.
Right,
but that's I would have to write it down and everything. So, but let's get to the last game.
Moving on to the last game of the slate, the number 7 ranked Tennessee Volunteers hosting Kent State. Tennessee's plus 48.5. That'd be fucking ridiculous. Tennessee's minus 48.5. Nico Iamaleava, I believe is how you pronounce it.
The floor is lava. That dude, give him to me. I'm going Nico. The floor is lava.
I'm taking Tennessee as well for Nico and the run game, which people were concerned that with Jalen Wright being gone, the run game might kind of suffer, and it's not whatsoever.
I don't even care if I get this wrong. I would be pissed off if I didn't take Tennessee and they covered.
I will never bet against the most talented quarterback in the country. I never will.
Yeah. I mean, and like that seems like almost like a crazy claim, but it's just like, okay, if not him, then who? If not him, then who?
His ceiling, he could be Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Like the frame, the missile launcher, he can improve on his movement.
But and I feel like we have to. I feel like we have to clarify when Josh Allen was at Wyoming. Not many guys other than Trey Daubert knew that Josh Allen was going to be good. And so this is like if Josh Allen went to a D1 school and you actually knew who the fuck he was,
Wyoming is a D1 school.
Well, I mean
a Power 5 school. If you went to a Power 5 school.
Thank you.
I was going to say like Wyoming's definitely.
Thank you. You know what I meant. You know what I meant.
All right, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go over the picks really quick. We different on this one. Alex has LSU. I have South Carolina. I took Wisconsin. Alex took Alabama. We both took Boston College. He took Oregon. I took Oregon State.
Correct.
We both took Miami, although I'm really fearful of this being a trap
Fuck
game
Ball
for bettors. We're both taking Tulane for the second week in a row. Paid off last week. Begrudgingly, we are both taking Notre Dame as well.
And I'm a Notre Dame fan, so just know that.
I talked Alex into taking the points for the home dog at Utah State. We're both taking Ole Miss because we're eating the cheese on them. And Nico the Floors Lava is going to put up 70 points with this offense.
So Garrett, in the first 4 games, we differed on 3 of them,
and I was like, "In the past, Nico gets the blood pumping." Though, listen.
Oh yes, sir.
Nico gets it going. Don't you worry.
He gets the blood pumping in my dick. Like I mean,
I didn't want to just elevate to that point.
Like
but
that dude,
you took it.
You watch him play, and you're like, "Oh shit, am I hard right now?" And you're like, "Maybe." And so, like, yeah, no,
outlandish. Alex, will you give us the season total through 2 weeks so far, and then we'll wrap up out
through
here.
2 weeks, Garrett, you are 10-10, and I am 13-7.
I got 3 games to make up.
Well, we differed on 3, so you might win it back this week.
I have my room to come back this week.
So,
all right.
I really thought we were going to differ more after the first 4 games.
4.
And I was like, oh shit, we're just gonna go balls to the wall 7 games.
We might split every single one of them.
Hell yeah, that's what I was thinking.
At some point, we're bound to split like 8 games. At some point, I don't think we did it last year, but
I think we did, Garrett, and we split like I think it was like 8 games, and then we went for.
Didn't we split those?
Yeah, we did. So we differed on 8 of them, and then I got 4 right, you got 4 right, so it had no change.
Hey Haas, we appreciate you so much. We are about to wrap up this episode, but we're going to go live again doing hard locks, but for the NFL. So Haas, be sure to stay on to the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel because we're about to go live again, brother.
I would die for Haas.
Thank you so much for watching the video here on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel.
That's
if you're like Haas and you're new here, please be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. Drop your comments down below. Press the sub button. Ring the bell so you don't miss any more uploads. We're going to see you next time.
I got